Stop. Stop scrolling if you want to hear a true scary story. Do you like true scary stories? Then you're going to love this one. And it's a personal experience that I had. I had just turned 14. My dad had accepted a position at a fiber optics company in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We were living in Virginia at the time. I wasn't happy about it. I had to leave my family that I had, come to know, friends, and we moved there. The only good thing about it was my grandparents lived there, and so with it being such a sudden move, they invited us to stay with them until we could find a property. This wasn't a job that my dad was going to be leaving anytime soon because it was a position that he had applied for and he got it. So we moved down to North Carolina, and there were 7 of us in a 2-bedroom home. To say that it was overcrowded is, yeah, it was just horrible. So anyway, we made do as best as we could. Dad talked with my mom, and he decided that he was going to have a property built, but that was going to take about 8 to 9 months to build, and so we needed a place to stay. So they put the money down, and they ended, deciding to build. My mom, while we were at school, she was stay at home, so she would just get on the phone and just call places looking for a place that, we could rent on a month by month basis. And she finally found one, and that's when we moved to this place. There are some places that just feel bad from the moment that you walk in. They just feel bad. They feel wrong. I remember the first time I saw it, it was a big white house. It had 10 rooms. The walls and the ceilings were very high. But I remember there was this icky blue indoor-outdoor carpet that was on every floor in the house, including the kitchen. I did end up getting, one of the biggest bedrooms, but it was so big and I didn't have enough furniture to fill it, so it just always felt so empty to me. That's how I would describe this house. It just felt very empty to me. The thing started out small, very small. We would notice articles of clothing that would come up missing, socks, shoes, underwear. I remember there was one particular blouse that I was looking for to wear to school, and I could not find it to save my life. I searched behind the washer and dryer, and I asked my mom where it was. She's like, "Brent, I didn't take your shirt." My brother, he came in the kitchen one morning and he goes, "Mom, where is all my football socks?" And she's like, "Paul Jr., I don't know. I don't know where they are. You should keep up with them." So, we really didn't even think about the possibility of paranormal, I guess. A couple weeks later was the strangest thing. My grandparents that we had been living with until we found this property, they were invited over for dinner. My mom had, bought things and made the house look good and made it look inviting. My grandparents arrived at 6:00 p.m. and we were standing outside. We could hear the car coming down the gravel driveway. And so my dad instructed my grandmother to pull on the lawn. It wasn't like real grass, it was just kind of gravel. So they did. They got out the car. My grandparents were in their late 70s at the time. So when my grandfather got out, he was always a very um, dynamic man. He had a real presence about him. He had a head full of the snowiest white hair. And he was a preacher. He had been a preacher for years. And he carried a Bible up under his arm, under his right arm, wherever we went. My grandmother, she was the old-fashioned belle type lady, and she had her leather purse over her arm, and they were walking across the grass to the steps. My grandmother walks up to me and she says, "Hey, Bryn, have you seen your ghost yet?" Now, let me explain about my grandmother. My grandmother came from the mountains of North Carolina. She is highly intuitive. She is psychic. And when I tell you psychic, it's the kind of psychic that will scare you to your very core. She has seen things, knows things. So when she walked up and asked me if I had seen my ghost yet, it just sent shivers down my spine. And I just kind of laughed it off. And I remember my mom saying, "Mom, we don't talk about that kind of stuff. We don't believe that kind of stuff," which was kind of contradictory because my grandfather was a preacher and a pastor for over 50 years. So she didn't say anything else. Well, my grandfather, he continued walking and was almost at the steps, and he just stops and he starts breathing very, very heavily. And my grandmother asked him what was wrong, and he said, "Florine, I don't feel good." That was her name, Florine. And she's like, "Well, we'll get you in the house and we'll get you a glass of water." And he tries to come up the steps and he puts his hand on the post and he's like, I can't go any further, Florine. So they had to leave. They ended up leaving. My mom had made this huge supper with fried chicken, mashed potatoes, biscuits, and they left. They left. The first, that was very odd. We talked about it that night after they left, and my dad was just kind of shaking his head. "We don't have any ghost here. She's just ridiculous with everything she says. There's no way possible." He was kind of frustrated about it. And then my mom was like, "Well, Paul, how do you explain, my dad getting so sick?" And he's like, "I don't know. He's an old man, So that's going to be part one of the story. If you want to hear part two, because trust me, it's about to get really, really real, the things that we encountered in this haunted house and what we found out about its history was absolutely chilling. If you want to hear more, comment it. I want to hear part two. Leave something in the comments. I don't care about emojis or anything like that. Thank you for watching it, and if I see enough comments, I will post part two.